Hello and welcome everyone to our first episode of Sensei's Circle. I have my first guest here with me, Ravolta, and you just heard his first song on his new EP, Dimensions, and the song is called Genesis. So,
Right.
what's up? How are you doing today?
Hi, man. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm actually pretty exhausted. It's been a pretty long night,
Yeah, I
but
hear you.
I'm excited to jump into this. So let's do just that. So Genesis, we just listened to it. I've listened to it almost a dozen times now. I love it. I think that thank you. I think that it's a great first track to your EP. I love the softness that it starts with, and then the fullness and the building that it has. So tell me about it. Why did you choose that kind of introduction to it, and what was your thought process in creating it?
Well, really, like the initial goal with Genesis was to make like this just massive build up. Like it starts calm, like there's nothing really going on. Like there's just this guitar that's really nice to hear. It's really calming, and then it just breaks into this massiveness. It's like it's kind of remnants of the entire universe in a way. Like there's gonna be some universe themed stuff in this EP. So this is kind of like the opener. And the goal here was with the when it all goes down and the whole band kicks in, it's about trying to convey the vastness and absolute massiveness of the universe, and just like convey the initial message that the EP is kind of trying to also get to.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's basically like the introduction to what the EP is kind of going for in a way.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that. Without being punny, there was a lot of dimensions to Genesis. So you definitely started the EP out well. So
Thank you very much.
you're very welcome. So tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm 25 years old. I'm from Croatia, and I am a metal musician. I play the guitar, bass, drums, and I'm also a vocalist. And right now in this EP, I'm also the producer and main mix guy.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I've been really trying to get to some level when I'm happy with what I can do with music.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know those are a lot of heavy tasks to hold on your own. So I can only imagine how much free time you have on your hands doing all of that.
No, I don't.
You don't? That's about what I expected. Yeah. So the name Revolta, how did you come up with that?
Well, I had like a band last year, which was like we had them like meme names in a way.
Okay.
So since I was like the biggest lover of metal in that band, uh, I got the name Gent Ravolta, which was like John Travolta and gent the metal genre, and it kind of stuck. And I really liked the sound of Ravolta, so I just kept it. And now it's everywhere, everything I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I always love to hear about like the origins of names,
Yeah.
because I used to have a music background myself, and my names were terrible. And I would spend I would spend days just like trying to think of names, and then I would change it, and then I would do like a new song set and then change it again,
Yeah.
and I just
I had the previous name was Steph Troy, which was absolutely atrocious. It was my previous project. It was like kind of post rock, and I kind of dumped that because I don't enjoy post rock as much as I love metal. But I would be glad to revisit that genre eventually, just because I always want to make maybe one or two songs in that genre, but never a full EP or album about
yeah.
it. But yeah, I wouldn't call this album just purely metal. I would call it very experimental, just to use all the things that I can get, because I was writing some riffs and I was like, this is to that, this is to that. So instead of just thinking this is very much car bomb, I can't use that in a metal album, which is not car bomb sounding. Uh, it's I just used it because I can.
Hmm.
Like, as this name of the EP says, Dementias, this EP entirely is very dimensional and very many dimensions, more than four.
More than that's awesome. And I know it talked about it again, but just tell me a little bit about your inspirations, because definitely in the two songs that I heard, I hear some remnants of "Bullet for My Valentine," "Avenged Sevenfold," things like that, with the guitar harmonization and the scaling that you choose and everything. So, were those some of your inspirations, and who else?
Well, for example, Genesis was first inspired by the song "Wake" by Linkin Park, which is like also an interlude in a way to "Minutes to Midnight," their album. And on King's Plague, it was Avenged Sevenfold. Literally, King. I listened to a lot of "Hail to the King," the album they made, and I was really going for that feel, you know.
You hit it.
And yeah, I hope I did.
You
I was
did.
really aiming for that, and the guest guitarist that was on it, Saint Gallows. We both really love Avenged Sevenfold, so it was really natural fit for him to be here as well. And yeah, it was meant to be Avenged Sevenfold, but with my own kind of take on it. And the bassist William Utter just brought the tone. It
Hmm.
was bringing it all together, so it sounds heavy. And yeah, the dueling was on the third solo was Saint's idea, so he really brought an extra dimension of Avenged Sevenfold to the mix.
That was
And
that was beautiful.
on the other songs, you can hear another Linkin Park slash Star Set kind of song. And on the fourth song, it's going to be with influences from Ginger and Car Bomb. It's going to be, for the lack of better term, fucking face melting. Yeah, and the last song is going to be very progressive. I have my good friend Current on it, which is also my former bandmate. He's an amazing prog guitarist, and he's also working on an EP right now. So I'm also really excited for his music.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's just going to the last song is going to be without vocals. It's going to be just a big conundrum of heaviness and riffs, basically.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so excited that I want to actually ask you
yeah.
about when things are coming out and everything, but I'll wait on that, and we'll we'll ask a couple other questions first. So one of the things that I think is really interesting about what you're doing is that you're doing everything yourself. So you're playing, aside from the features and everything, bass, guitar, drums, vocals, everything is you. So have you, or do you plan on playing live? If so, how do you do that? Or are you more interested in staying online, like YouTube and the digital workspace, like Spotify, iTunes, and stuff like that?
Well, honestly, digital workspace is great because like you have freedom while you're working. You don't have to be like, I have only one take. This has to be it. So you have the freedom to take takes and make everything as good as you want it to be. But I played live once with my former band. It was just an amazing experience, and I definitely want to do it again with Ravolta.
Yeah.
But for that, I think I'm gonna wait a bit until I can find the proper people to fill the spots that I need. because if I'm gonna play live, I'm going to be just on the vocals because the songs are really, really hard to play and sing at the same time. So I would need another 5 or 4 people to back me up on that and learn everything that is on the record or make it better with their own style.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna probably make another EP before I can make that happen. But I'm definitely interested in doing that because that would be an amazing opportunity to go out and maybe meet some people that really enjoy my music. Although I haven't met so many yet.
Well, you got
Yeah,
one.
thank you very
You're
much.
very welcome.
It's very much appreciated to hear that people truly enjoy what you make.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very nice feeling.
This is my idea to start with an EP, and I don't care how much traction it gets in a way. Like it was, I'm doing this primarily for myself because if you're not gonna make music that you want to hear, then you shouldn't make it.
I agree.
That's how I view it. But again, maybe there's some fucking idiot like me that who really enjoys all of those things that I make.
Yeah.
No offense, by the way.
No, 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 no worries, no worries. I definitely I relate to that a lot, especially in what I'm doing right now. I don't have a lot of traction for this either, and I'm doing it for myself more than anyone because even if
Yeah.
I can get one person to like watch a video and be like, oh my god, Ravolta, I want to listen to him now, right? Like then it's well worth my time and effort to put into everything. So doing it for yourself first is definitely the best way to go about things.
Yeah.
So
Also, thank you very much for inviting me for this.
absolutely, it's my pleasure. Thank you for coming. So what is the process that you go through in making your songs, and how long does it take?
Well, most songs just begin with like an idea. I would be in a car on, I don't know, on a coffee date or some shit. I don't know, and some melody or riffs comes to my mind. I'm just like, 5 minutes. Let me just record this. This is sick. And then it's just becomes from an idea. Like the first song that I made under the name Ravolta was Liar, and that song came as a solo actually. Like I made a backing track, and I was like, "This is gonna be for Instagram. Nobody's gonna see it. This is gonna be like a minute long solo, and that's gonna be it." And the backing track in the end, like it was 2 chord progressions for it. It was like a riff and then chord progression, and that made into a whole song, and it turned out amazing. I mixed it really badly because then back then I didn't really know how to mix well. But yeah, from an original idea to the full song, depends on the song. It takes about 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the complexity of it. For example, King's Play started with the riff, which was like dum 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 dum. That was the main idea, and then it just drove itself forward through the chorus and through the solos. And then it was about writing the proper solo, the proper voice, vocal lines, vocal melodies, making everything flow from one part to the other, then also making arrangements with Will and Saint to make their parts, and so we can all mix them together. And the hardest part, the most time consuming part, is really the vocals because I really don't like using autotune. So I try to really make sure that I take a perfect take for every vocal line.
Hmm.
And I try to also not cut vocal lines into pieces. So it's like everything you hear, like the verse is one entire take,
Hmm.
the chorus is one entire take, and then I just put the usual effects. I don't know why I'm blue.
I don't know.
I
I don't know.
just put the usual effects on it, like compressor, reverb, EQ, and all that, and the standard pitch corrector. So like I go up a cent or down a cent if I'm a little flat or sharp. But that's like the usual. It just helps so you don't feel you don't sound out of place of the song. And then it's come down to mixing, making sure that no frequencies clash and no frequencies too harsh. So yeah, about 2 to 4 weeks per song. For example, Genesis though was really an oddball because it took 2 days to make. Like the most difficult part was the column part with like acoustic
Mhm.
kind of sound. That was a day of work just to make it sound all together nice and clean. And then the heavy part was really 30 minutes because I knew what I wanted with it. It was
Yeah,
just perfect and I nailed it on the first try.
that's awesome.
So yeah, that was it's a long process for every song, but uh, I think it could be faster.
I mean, yeah, I bet doing everything by yourself is definitely, heavy on time.
Yeah,
But the more you do it, the easier it'll get for everything.
yeah, absolutely. The next EXP should be done in like 2 weeks.
Going from 2 week songs to 2 week albums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So speaking about your EP Dimensions, tell us more about it. Give us some more insight about it.
Well, it started off as an idea to like make an EP like featuring artists that I know personally and like showcasing them in a way. But then I was like, why not make something that's mine and also feature people, like show them off in a different way through
Mhm.
my songs instead of showing them off as themselves in a way, kind of. It sounds a bit assholey
No.
now I realize, but but yeah, the first song was I posted in a Facebook group in which I'm part of, which is Schecter Guitar Forum, and I was like, I'm looking for a guitarist and a bassist for one song that I'm making because I had this idea and I wanted to bring people into it. Everything was written like the whole song was written except for Saint solo, and I just brought them in and they really wanted to work on it as soon as they heard it. So that was my way of kind of showcasing them. And every song has at least one person featured on it, except for Genesis, which is just an introduction, which is only me. So the first song has Saint and William. The second song has an amazing American guitarist, Dylan Maxwell, which is like an amazing shredder. He's just clean, on point, perfectly on time, and he only did the solo for this song, Supernova, which is also coming out in on 24th of April. And he also brought some synth sounds to make it all feel full. And honestly, right now I can tell you this song is going to be probably better received and um, more widely accepted than King's Play because it really is a bit more open to more people in a way, but it really captures what I was going for. There, it was my vision of this song in a way. And then we have the third and fourth song that are gonna be coming soon. The whole album should be out by 31st next month. So the third song has also an American guitarist, Adam, and he's just incredible. He was also on my shred compilation, which I did on my YouTube channel, so you should also check that out. Um, and yeah, that song is going to be extreme metal. It's going to be very, very heavy, and honestly, my vocal cords are already crying for help. And the last song, of course, Current, which is going to be, as I said, very progressive, very riff driven, also no vocals on it. So it's going to be very instrumental and just showcasing what we can do in kind of way without really soloing. And I was also planning on releasing a few extra songs, maybe two or three, which I also wanted to make and publish, but didn't want to include on the EP itself, which are going to be added onto the physical copy, which I'm going to make. It's like an extra little goodie for people that want to directly support me as an artist. But those songs are going to be only available through CDs and nothing else. So it's going to be like an exclusive little thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Where can we currently find your songs, and where will we be able to find them in the future when your full album is released?
Well, all my songs currently are already on YouTube, like Genesis and King's Plague. You can already find them on my YouTube channel, and they're also available for purchase. I mean, for free, but for purchase on my Bandcamp. But you can also insert any amount that you want to pay for the song if you want to support my music and want to help me make more music. And all the other songs are also going to be coming on YouTube and Bandcamp as they will get released. And when the entire album is released, it's going to be also available on all major streaming platforms like Spotify, Deezer, and such. So you can also just take them on your phone and listen to them anywhere. And also, you know, I just want to hear people enjoying my music and just knowing that somebody enjoys it and that I was making it for that person.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you may have just touched on it, but what is one thing that you want people to take away from your music?
Well, really, you don't need everything that all the major bands have right now, like an entire building studio, like insane drum kits, insane guitars, insane amps, everything. You don't even need to be in the same room to make music. I literally have my laptop, my Focusrite box, and my Schecter guitar, and I'm making everything, and I'm coming to what I wanted to make. And you don't really need all that expensive stuff. You don't need insane connections to make a song. I don't have connections. I made a song. I I'm gonna say I don't care how many people hear it. In a way, I didn't mean it to get traction. If it gets traction, that's great, but it wasn't intended for that. But I just want to, you know, if somebody sends me a message on Facebook and says, "Hey man, I really enjoy your music," then that's what I was going for. This is why this EP was made, you know.
That's awesome. So something that I want to do on here is kind of uh, taking things away from you and not just your project. So I'm going to call it story time with Sensei. So
Yeah.
story time is going to be what were you doing before music?
Well, I've been playing for almost 9 years. I started with guitar, and I added instruments on top of that. But before that, I was really your average high school student. Really nothing interesting happening. You know, I was just like your average dude at that time, and I was 15 back then, and now 10 years later, I'm trying to do something, but yeah, that's it. There's nothing really exciting. I just decided this year that I want to make something, and all those previous years of music were just like doing it for the enjoyment of it. Now it's also for doing something bigger than just me.
Mhm.
But before that, really nothing interesting. I was just your average high school student.
Okay. So you've been doing music for a long time. So why did you decide that this is what you're going to do and that you're going to start doing it now?
Well, I've been doing music for a lot of years. I mean, 10 years for a lot of people is not a lot of time, but for me, I'm 25 years old.
It's a lot of
This is
time.
almost almost half of my life, you know.
Yeah.
And I was always fascinated in my music, and I was like, every time I would leave a live show, I was watching Ginger last 2 months ago, and that was like the best show of my life. And I was like, man, I really want to make more stuff. And at that time, I already started with making music, but it started last year with Steph Troy and my post rock project. It was like I was trying really hard to make a band and make music and keep everything on together. And I was writing like crazy. I had 3 songs in 2 weeks, and I do plan on making them again, making them all better, and releasing them maybe at the as singles or something. But right now with Ravolta and Dimensions EP, I was really it was really down to me deciding that I want to finally do something with what I can do on guitar, on bass, and on vocals, and stuff like that. But yeah, this is like it's start. I hate to say this, but it started with the pandemic and the fact that I had a lot more time indoors now. So I had to like, I was like, I'm gonna use this time to finally do something. And I know this falls into the category with a lot of other artists and albums that were like just created in this time. But I'm okay with it just because, I mean, there is never gonna be enough music in this world, you know. And people that are looking for that one specific thing might finally find it in something that I made. So yeah, this was like the free time that I have now has given me a really big window to finally make stuff that I want to make, and opened up the door to actually doing music as kind of a more than just a hobby. Maybe somebody will actually enjoy it enough to pay me.
That's the dream.
Yeah,
So, given everything that you just said, what has the transition been like emotionally, mentally, from doing something as just a hobby to now trying to share it with the world and trying to grow it?
honestly, at the start it was really stressing because this is like I've been a singer for less than 2 years. I started with the previous project, and I was really always just unsure and insecure about if my vocals and even my guitar playing were on par to be something that people want to hear. And um, also my production skills. Like, what if the song that I want to make, that I want to hear, isn't something that anybody else wants to hear? Because, you know, I'm not gonna make music and get told that it's horrible by every musician on the planet, you know? Because for example, Liar, the first song that I made under the name Ravolta, was really poorly mixed, and that was like the focal point of everybody's feedback on that song. They weren't like, oh, that's a really cool song, that's a really cool melody, that's a really cool solo or something like that. It was like, this is horribly produced. And I was like, yeah, okay, so I have to focus on this. The music apparently was good enough to be passable regardless of the mix, apparently. So I was like, I have to improve that. And for example, the vocals for King's Plague, I really spend a lot of time on them to get the perfect tone of my voice, the perfect pitch that I wanted to go for, the perfect feel. And it took maybe 3 versions of entire vocal tracks to just get the sound that I wanted. And I'm finally kind of in a place where I'm comfortable with what I can play and what I can't play, what I can sing and can't sing, what I can produce and can't produce, and finally making it all a thing that I can show to the world. For example, King's Plague was really stressful because it was like the first full-blown metal song that I ever made, as me with me on the vocals, and I would go as far to say I'm happy with it. Of course, there is always room to grow, you know, and I'm always trying to get better. But yeah, it's been from very insecure and kind of almost like an imposter syndrome because of all the influences that I have influenced on how I play music and how I make it. And some people might see that as just plagiarism, but I see it as something that I make from my own style building up across 9 years of playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm finally in a good enough spot to be confident about what I'm making.
That's awesome. That's an amazing story. That's great to hear. So
Thank you.
that's about all the questions I have for you. So I'll open it up to you. Any shout outs you want to talk about? If you want to give yourself some spotlight, YouTube, Bandcamp. I know that you have things going on. So
Yeah.
so tell me, what do you want to talk about?
Well, at first, I want to thank all the people that are working with me on this EP, like all the musicians that have been working from Saint to Will to Adam to my friend Curran. Everybody did an amazing job. Everybody's doing an amazing job, and really they lifted the EP a little even higher than I wanted it to be, and they really made it amazing. And yeah, if you want to hear them out, you should YouTube them.
Heard.
But yeah, also if you want to listen to my music, you can check my YouTube channel, my Bandcamp. You can download it for free or purchase it if for any amount if you wanna. And also follow me on Facebook. my Facebook page where I'm gonna be posting stuff and little progress bits of the future songs. And yeah, that's about it. Please buy my music.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you again for coming out and joining me for a quick call. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's really appreciated and really an amazing experience.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you very much. So for everyone,
Thank you.
I will see you next time. We have a new Sensei Circle coming up shortly for you, as well as some new videos. And on the outro, we're actually going to give you a sample of the song King's Plague. So I'll see you all next time. Thank you again.